Dramedy's Cobra Kai, the long-awaited television series sequel to the Karate Kid films, has a unique advantage. Unlike most sequels, especially those produced much longer after the original product aired, CK brought back many original actors from TKK. Not only does this support the project's integrity, but it also works as a nostalgia machine. Have you spotted these special casting choices if you're a show fan? The reason that reboots are so often successful is due to nostalgia from fans. If a reboot, sequel, or spin-off wants to rely on the fame of the original production, it must have adequate callbacks, homage, fan service, and revive old talents and characters. These require nostalgia, or there would be no connection between the original and new productions. Cobra Kai is an incredible example of this.
Rule number 3. A man can't see, he can't fight.
The first and possibly most famous is Ralph Macchio. He was the star of the original movie, Daniel LaRusso, who was thrust into action as dubbed Karate Kid when he is met with bullies after Daniel moves to their town.
I'm gonna forget my promise and rip your teeth out.
Now, decades after the original movies were made, Macchio is 60 and barely looks older than the youthful character he played long ago. In CK, he plays a large role as a father and karate mentor. He's still raising his dukes too. His character takes part in what is being called the best fight scene so far in the reboot. Some fans cite Macchio's presence on set as the main reason they're interested in CK. This isn't the first reboot of the franchise. There was once a remake with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, however this film did not appear to hold the same weight.
I didn't smack anyone around, honey. It was more of a good cop, bad cop situation.
William Zabka, who plays Johnny Lawrence, is recognizable to any fan of the original as the first of the bullies who go after Daniel in the original. The good guy beats the bad guy with a high kick and all is well, right? Cobra Kai goes a step further. The series gives fans a look into Johnny's home life, including manipulation and abuse. This opens up important questions about the portrayal of adversaries in the media. Of course, at home in real life, we know that people are never boiled down into all good or all bad. CK is trying not to excuse bad behavior from this character, but provide important context for them. Zabka, like Macchio, looks incredible, considering the original was filmed over 30 years ago. The actor has revived everything about his character, including voice acting, to sound like he did in the original.
Sucks you're not allowed to get laid anymore, man.
How many times I gotta tell you, I'm not a priest.
So your wang can still get tanged.
Do you think that these portrayals are good or bad for society? Most fans say that it's a good thing. It's more realistic. A small margin may disagree, assuming showing flaws in depth is somehow excusing the behavior of these antagonists. What do you think? Keep watching, because we have a lot more to discuss. Next we have Martin Kove as John Kreese, the big bad in the original. Johnny Lawrence looks harmless compared to this guy. He was the sensei who taught his students how to cheat, creating dangerous and violent matches. In the original, he was portrayed as a cold, cruel man who craved nothing but violence, urging his students to strike first and lie, manipulate, and sabotage to ramp up the violence of the matches.
Real world. We have to fight our own battles. Cobra Kai can teach you how, but you have to prove that you're worthy.
Now 75, Kove gives us an impressive performance in CK. The talented actor has managed to bring the same energy to his character. He replicates the menace in his face perfectly. It should be noted that this character is not given the same treatment as Zabka's character. Kreese is not given very many layers and is not humanized in the reboot. There seems to be some logic regarding which characters are given a more sympathetic spin. Keep your hats on. Next, we'll discuss an even worse villain, Thomas Ian Griffith as Terry Silver. In the third movie of the original series, this character tortures Daniel. He gets into his head and changes him. He turns what was once an innocent and fair fighter into a violent young man who wants to hurt people.
Desire, devotion, and discipline. The first two I can't give you. The last one I can, but you have to be willing to receive it.
He even turned Daniel against Mr. Miyagi, his beloved sensei. Griffiths, in his revival, brings Silver back in all his terrifying glory. His hair remains long, and in his signature slick-back style, though it has faded from black to gray. This aspect of the character's spirit was used as a visual in Season 4 of CK. We see Silver staring into a mirror, smiling, and pulling his hair back into his slicked pony. A defining moment for his character. When you saw him do this, did you think he would be back to his old ways? It certainly seemed deliberate, in our opinion. Daniel's foe in Karate Kid 2, Chozen Toguchi, is also back in Cobra Kai. Played by Yuji Okumoto, the antagonist hated Daniel and vowed to beat him to death. How is this kid Daniel attracting these people? Chozen was angry with Daniel over Daniel and Kumiko's relationship, so he wanted to beat the kid to death. Luckily, in the original, he could dampen these urges when Daniel beat him fair and square. This character seemed perfect to reboot, but Cobra Kai brings forward a twist. Chozen is indeed rebooted, but his character has seen the light. After Daniel beat him, he went on a long soul-searching journey and came to terms with his terrible thoughts and actions. In the reboot, he's a good friend to Daniel. What a nice surprise. Cobra Kai is full of surprises, especially with its treatment of antagonistic characters from the original. Some of them haven't changed, but the audience is shown the context of their behavior. Some of them haven't changed, and now we have one who was legitimately scary in the original films, and the writers allowed him to do a 180. Kumiko was played by Tamlyn Tomita. In the 80s, the character was Daniel's love interest in the second film. Tomita is still just as gorgeous as always. Seriously, have all these actors found a fountain of youth or something? She returns to the story as Daniel's longtime friend. Chozen even admits, finally, to his romantic feelings for the character. What do you think of her return? Do you recognize her as Kumiko? Similarly, actress Elisabeth Shue is also back as Allie Mills, Daniel's first love interest in the originals. At the time of the original story, this character was the recent ex of Johnny and caught the eye of Daniel, which set off the chain of events that we see in the KK films. We're thrilled that Cobra Kai is reviving the old fighters in Daniel's life in his long-ago flames. If you're a fan of the originals and you've seen Cobra Kai, what do you think of this? We aren't done yet. Keep watching to hear about the rest of the cast that is brought back for this revival. Ron Thomas also appears in the Netflix show Bobby Brown. This actor reprised his role in the new show, as a past has-been featured in a few episodes so far. One of his appearances is to help Johnny's character, who is having personal family issues with his son. Like many other actors, Thomas plays this character as he did back in the 80s. His eventual role as a pastor makes perfect sense when rewatching the originals. If you'll remember, in the first film, Bobby is the person who first kicks and injures Daniel's knee. He was also extremely hesitant, and even at his young age in the original, he even appears to regret his actions. A big ask for any teenage antagonists. Did you catch this dynamic in the original films? Was Bobby's new role in the reboot satisfying? That's not all. We've covered the major actors in the original, but what about more minor roles? Along with these discussed actors, many more minor actors from the originals have roles in Cobra Kai. Sean Kanan as Mike Burns is another redeemed character. Audiences loved his eventual role in the aftermath of the amount of violence and hate instilled in him by Kreese. Robin Lively reprised her role as Jessica Andrews, although some fans missed her in Cobra Kai altogether due to the time elapsed since the originals were filmed. Did you catch all of these original performers when watching the hugely popular Cobra Kai? Does the reprisal of so many roles and characters ultimately add to the show, or would you cite another reason for its success? We'd love to hear what you think below. While the idea of rebooting shows with original talents isn't new, it does seem that this program does so with much more vigor than is usually seen. Many fans will say this is the source of the show's success, while others say it would have been great with just a few original actors. We think the show would not have been as successful without these actors, some relatively unrecognizable. Were you a fan of the original films? If so, what did you think of Cobra Kai?